today's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before that first semi-final. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The national team of Great Britain Baptist player games in quarterfinals yesterday. The national team of Turkey beat the national team of Italy 63 to 58. The national team of Great Britain won over France in Chemnitz Arena 93 to 58. Both teams have been qualified to Paralympic Games Tokyo 2020, but we know that it will be very interesting game. The winner will play for a gold medal tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to present both teams, and we will start from the national team of Great Britain. Number 11, the captain of team, Phil Pratt. Number 4, Gazan Chowdhury. Number 5, Simon Brown. Number 6, Kyle Marsh. Number 7, Terence Bywater. Number 8, George Bites. Number 9, Harrison Brown. Number 10, Abdullah Abdi Yawa. Number 12, Greg Warburton. Number 13, Ian Sagar. Number 14, Limani. And number 15, Ben Fox. The head coach of National Team of Great Britain is Ibarra. Assistant coach is Stephen Kane. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the national team of Turkey. Number 5, the captain of team, Ozgur Kuribula. Number 9, Ugur Toprak. Number 10, Cengiz. Number 11, Fikri Budogu. Number 15, Selim Sayak. Number 17, Gokhan Chosku. Number 24, Denis Akar. Number 35, Ahmed Efedu. Number 47, Ridvan Akson. 52, Volkan Gulen. 77, Ismail Al. And 90, Ibrahim Yavuz. The head coach of the national team of Turkey is Ahmed Akin. The assistant coach is Etchen Kilic. Today officials are Drazen Strok, Croatia, Milutin, Jeleni Serbia, and Erik Etzelberg, Germany. The game commissioner is Patrick Simmels from Belgium. Ladies and gentlemen, who is able, please raise up from your seats. National anthem of Great Britain. National anthem of Turkey. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your attention. 2 minutes will begin the first semi-final today.
This is the emergency broadcast system. The CDC is advising that you stay
have the live stats open.
Yes, sir. Live stats open, then airplane mode on. Send me the link there just for speed so that I...
One sec. If we can just have it on one point, if we have the live stats and maybe another page with the with the stats from another game, from the other games, like what people have been doing generally.
Yeah. You're a pro.
That just makes it easier when you have something to look at.
Yeah.
Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joe Bestwick, and I'm here with James McSorley, world champion from Great Britain last year.
Hi guys, looking forward to a great game here. It's the semi-final of the European Championships. We have Great Britain against Turkey. Should be a good one, Joe.
Yeah, definitely. These guys have got a really big history in European Championships, going back over the last number of tournaments, meeting in, I believe I'm right in saying, the last 3 consecutive finals.
Yes, sir. I believe you're right there. Turkey took the last one. The last competitive game between these two was the European final 2 years ago. Turkey came away with gold. I'm sure the GB lads are really looking forward to getting a bit of revenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a few new faces and some new old faces in the GB team since that last game. Ian Sager, the number 13 for Great Britain, has made his way back into the team. And Ben Fox is here appearing at his first senior tournament. If we just have a little look at the lineups here from both teams. Turkey are starting with the same starters again, with Göbalak, Gundogdu, Cem Gazinski, Ismail A, and Ugur Toprak.
And GB are going with the same starters as usual. They're starting with Simon Brown, Greg Warburton, Harry Brown, Phil Pratt, and Lee Manning.
I think the key for Turkey here in this game is going to be the performance of Ozgur Göbalak. He's been the real focal point of this team over a number of years. and he's had some great emotional battles against GB. If he can really turn up and start knocking down some shots early and get fired up, it'll make the game much harder for GB, who have been dominant so far throughout this tournament.
Oh, that's it. You see so many games, especially at the top level, that are really, really dependent on who starts well. Obviously, it's a long game, but I'd say both of these teams are really, really wanting to get started well, to really carry them on for the rest of the 40 minutes.
Exactly. Yesterday's quarterfinal between Germany and Netherlands was a prime example of that. Dirk Passevan getting hot early, and the Netherlands never really catching up.
And let's see who's going to control this. GB control the tip, and they'll have the first offense of the game.
Ball in Phil Pratt's hands here early. That'll be a feature of GB's games here. He really runs the court for them. He's had some high-scoring games this tournament, as well as a few DNPs due to being sick, but his performance and his court control is going to be key.
A quick turnover there for GB. Now Turkey coming in the other way with the ball. Top rack with the ball at the top of the key, being hounded by Harry Brown. Ball in Oscar Gerbelak's hands.
He finds Gazin. Cem on the inside finishes a shot there. Cem is huge. Great big man in his chair, and GB is going to have to keep him as far away from the basket as possible. He isn't a guy with great range, but he can finish very effectively when he's allowed to get close.
I would say if it wasn't for Lee Manning, he's probably the biggest man on the court most of the time.
Absolutely. That's a great shot there by Simon Brown from the middle. He's another guy who doesn't necessarily score in buckets for GB, but he's super effective on the court in the way he creates space for his teammates. If he can also add to that by scoring these mid-range jumpers, then that will be huge this game.
Yeah, when GB get the likes of Simon Brown and Harry Brown scoring, they're a very hard team to stop.
Good pressure by Greg Warburton there, but Turkey come away with the ball. Back in Gerbelak's hands.
Pick set by Ismail R. He can roll to the basket here.
Early triple by Phil Pratt, leaving top rack open. Misses the shot though from the middle.
Rebound from Phil Pratt, and GB are off on the break. 3-on-2 here. Let's see if they can capitalise. Harry Brown pulls it out.
That's good control there by Harry Brown, not wanting to do anything too exciting and too dramatic too early, and finds Greg Warburton for a comfortable middle-range shot.
Death taxes and Greg Warburton from the right baseline. We've seen that before.
Yeah, it's essentially that shot and some of his pump fakes and finishes that won him the MVP at last year's World Championship.
Absolutely.
A lot of pressure here from GB, forcing Oscar Gerbelak high, but they give up the roll, and that's a nice finish by Ismail R.
Yeah, looked a bit off balance there. That was a great finish, especially from a 1.5.
Lots of contact on Pratt there again. No call though. Greg again from the baseline. Nothing but net.
Clean as you like.
Pressure again from GB. Not too aggressive, just slowing down the Turkey transition here. Very, very high line from GB. A lot of communication, a lot of switches. Gerbelak finds his way into the paint, and that's a comfortable finish. GB don't want to let him get heated up early.
Greg Warburton bringing the ball up the court in the right wing. Has a look inside.
Miscommunication there between Warburton and Pratt. Ball's thrown out of bounds. Again, this pressure.
3 up from GB. Ball over the halfway line though. And Gerbelak can get into his two-man game with top rack.
Interesting that they're running the two-man game with the two most effective outside shooters from Turkey on one side here. Ismail waits, fakes, drives. It's another nice finish.
Seems over the last couple of years Turkey have been running Ismail R on the outside a lot more than they used to. He's been very effective as a pick and roll player for a long time. But
Phil Pratt was wide open there on the wing, decides not to take the shot and instead finds the big man Lee Manning inside for a comfortable little post-up shot there. It's good to see Lee knock those shots down. Again, this pressure from GB. Not creating turnovers, not creating too much problem for Turkey, but taking a lot of seconds off the clock.
Yeah, and we'll see.
That's unbelievable shot by Oscar Gerber like that.
Stopped me in my tracks there. I was just going to say we'll see how the pressure wears on the Turkish team over 40 minutes. I think that's something that a lot of people take for granted, but if GB can keep this pressure up for 40 minutes, it really wears on any team you're playing against.
Absolutely. It's not necessarily that you win the short-term battle, but over the case of 40 minutes, this pressure, this constant intensity from GB will really wear teams down. Nice and controlled here from Turkey. Nothing too emotional yet, just controlling the pace of the game. Gerblak threatens another three, moves the ball though. Finds Cem with the ball.
Cem looks to shoot from the post up.
Oh, and one there. Harry Brown looks a little confused about what the call was there.
First personal foul number 9 from national team of Great Britain.
In the replay, it's hard to see exactly what was called there. I think the referee believes there's some contact on the head of Cem.
Didn't look like it from here, but they're a lot closer than we are.
Cem can't convert from the free throw line, but that is currently a 5-point lead for Turkey, and the big man is back picked straight away.
Let's see if GB can capitalize here on the back pick.
Lee Manning inside the key, not found. Greg wide open again from long range this time, and knocks another shot down. Greg Warburton 3 of 3 and is GB's top scorer at the moment.
Yet again, the three-man pressure from GB. Let's see what the call is here. The referee calls a push on Simon Brown. That's,
I believe that's Simon's first foul. Again, that won't be a worry. Simon's a very experienced veteran. He's been around this team for a very long time. He knows how to manage his fouls.
absolutely.
Cem again inside, matched up with Lee Manning though. Fades away and finishes the shot. That's going to be a problem for GB over the game if they keep allowing Turkey easy looks like that.
Ball to Greg Warburton on the right wing. Shots up.
Greg doesn't even wait. Half his teammates aren't even in the possession and Greg's already taken the shot and knocks it down.
Do you think he's feeling it?
I think he might be. He's certainly playing with a smile on his face right now, despite Turkey's slender lead.
It's just Harry Brown pressuring the ball on his own now. Ball over to Oscar Gerbalak on the right baseline.
Jumped, but no triple switch anywhere. Gives Toprak the roll, but he can't knock the shot down under pressure from Lee Manning. Lee didn't do too much there, but just his presence, I think, was enough to disturb the Turkish attack.
Absolutely. Ball to Greg Warburton on the right baseline.
Jumped him really early this time. Lots of pressure. Forcing a difficult pass. Pratt saves the ball.
Shot's got to go up here. Harry Brown for three.
Just rims out, and Simon Brown again picking up the rebound.
Absolutely brilliant hustle from Simon Brown, giving GB another chance. Ball into Lee Manning.
Inside. Lots of pressure, and he knocks it down as well.
Lee Manning.
One of the biggest strengths of Manning's game is that he's able to hit these really odd-looking, off-balance, one-handed shots so often. Like, he doesn't need to be square to the basket in a real traditional shot. He can bend those long arms of his in all sorts of strange angles to find a finish.
Simon Brown pressuring the ball with Ismail R. Ball to Gerbalak on the right wing. 2 points.
Yeah, he had far too much time there to knock that shot down. I can understand GB not wanting to jump too aggressively and give up layups, but Gerbalak's a dangerous player to let just have open shots like that.
Absolutely, he's going to make you pay if we keep giving him looks like that.
Phil Pratt behind the screen receives the ball back again. A lot of pressure.
He gets the shot up. Let's see if the ref will count it.
No basket. I think that's probably the right call in that situation. You could see, you could hear the contact, you could see that Phil felt he was being fouled maybe more than once and got the shot up just to make sure he got some call from the referee.
Yeah, if anything, the call was late rather than the contact, so
absolutely.
A second or two in between. Phil Pratt with the ball, picked up by Harry Brown. Greg Warburton cutting through under the basket, a lot of pressure.
Finishes that as well.
Greg Warburton.
That's a big finish from a two-pointer under the basket there.
Greg joking with the referee about that foul call then. I think he felt he was a little hard done by. Good to see him still smiling though. Greg Warburton, one of the smallest men in this GB team, but he's got a big voice. He's the one voice that we can hear everything he says all the way from up here.
Ishmael with 2 points from the free throw line again.
Very consistent shooting from both teams so far. GB 7 of 8 from the floor right now, and Turkey are 8 of 10.
Greg Warburton off the back of the ring, gets his own rebound. GB are going to recycle it out. Harry Brown from 15 feet, just off to the left. Turkey rebound.
Turkey taking their time here, not in a rush to advance the ball. It's a very controlled game from Turkey right now. They really don't look to be panicking or stressing too much under this GB pressure. Top right behind the screen. It's in a comfortable open look for him. It seems a little bit like Turkey is starting to mould Toprak to take over the Ozgur Gerbilak role at some point. He has the ball in his hands a lot for this team, takes a lot of shots. Warburton wide open again, doesn't get this one to drop though. And Turkey come away with the ball.
Some good pressure from GB here. Turkey get the ball over the halfway line. 1:20 to go in the first quarter. Toprak cutting towards the right baseline, skips it over to Gerbilak. Some good ball movement.
That was very pretty by Ishmael there, just faked the shot, drew in the big man Lee Manning, and took another bounce and knocked the shot down from the free throw line. Turnover in ball handling from Phil Pratt there. He believes there was contact from a Turkish player, but the referee disagrees. That's now a 7-point lead for Turkey. Do you think GB will be at all concerned about this?
I think any time a team goes up 7 points this early in the game, you've got to be a bit concerned. But no, I think GB they've been in situations like this before. They've been down. I think at this stage you work too hard to be worried about stuff like this. I think they'll get into the end of this quarter. Another 2 points from Ishmael. No, I think they'll get into the end of this quarter. They'll get their composure back, and I think we'll see GB come out strong at the start of the second quarter. This has been a great first quarter by Turkey. Another turnover by GB.
Bit of frustration just starting to set in there. Phil Pratt not happy that Lee Manning wasn't looking for the ball.
Turnover the other way. GB on the break. Lee Manning goes up with a layup, gets fouled, will be on the line for 2.
It's a smart foul by Gerbilak there, just making sure that there's no easy pass and that there's no easy opportunity for Manning to get 2 points there. Forcing to earn them from the line. Only 4 seconds left on the clock here after these shots.
Yeah, GB will be looking to knock these down and then to make sure that Turkey don't get anything in these 4 seconds. Lee Manning knocks the first one down.
And the second, that's good to see from Lee. He's someone who's had periods in his career and he's struggled a little from the free throw line, but he looked very, very confident under pressure from the scoreboard there.
Great pressure. Shot from Phil Pratt. Just to the right. That's 25-18 to Turkey after the first quarter.
Both teams looking very calm here. One of the things that so far has impressed me most is that we normally see the Turkish team being successful when they're fired up and angry and fighting for something, but at the minute they seem very, very under control and very relaxed about everything. And with that sort of relaxed attitude, they've managed to put 25 points in a quarter against world champions GB. I'm sure as James, the guy who's played for a number of years under Hadj Banya, will agree that he's a coach that puts a lot of emphasis on defense. I'm sure he won't be too happy that they've conceded 25 points in a quarter.
Oh, absolutely not. anytime you concede 25 points in a quarter, your coach is right to be a bit upset. There's been a couple of rolls here and there, but a lot of Turkey's points have been under sort of a bit of pressure, but not too much. So I'll be interested to see what changes are made after this. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen in this second quarter? What sort of adjustments would you make if you were down there?
I think at the minute there isn't a huge amount that GB need to adjust. I think they're getting relatively good looks. They've just missed a couple of shots, or a couple of turnovers rather, they shouldn't have really made. One potential adjustment is if they could bring in a lineup where they have Manning or Bates alongside Ian Sager to try and match up Turkey's height a little bit. That's something that could be effective. So maybe bringing in Ian Sager and Abdi Jama, so you still have the offensive threat of Jama from the outside, but the additional height of Ian Sager to guard the likes of Cem.
Yeah. What percentage of both teams shot this quarter?
Both teams have been fairly high. Turkey so far is shooting 12 of 14, unbelievably high.
Wow, there's only so much you can do about that as well.
Exactly.
There's only so much you can scheme for a team shooting 85%.
And,
so maybe I take back what I've just said.
GB also shooting a very respectable 8 of 13 here. I think it's more the turnovers that have hurt them though.
Yeah.
Very open three for Oscar Gorbelak there though. We said before, he cannot get those open looks if GB want to get control of this game.
Phil Pratt in the left wing, puts it into Lee Manning.
Manning was in the key a long time though. Turkey did a good job there, switching Gorbelak off of Manning, and the more mobile Gorbelak going towards Phil Pratt, and the Cem matching up with the big GB forward. One-man pressure from Harry Brown again here. Again, Turkey under control, slowly advancing the ball. 10-point lead now. Gorbelak again threatening the three-point, not really looking.
Ball into Cem on the left block.
With the mismatch and gets the roll. There's not a lot Greg Warburton can do with the monster Cem sat behind him there.
No. With that sort of height difference, you've just got to put your hand up and
hope for the best.
Yeah.
Back to Pratt behind the wing.
Takes a dribble, kicks it to Harry Brown on the free throw line, puts it up from 15, 2 points.
Beautiful shot by Harry Brown. That's something he's really developed over the last few years. He's always had a fantastic all-court defensive game, just beating people up with his chair skills and really getting in people's heads. But now he's become, and we saw that last year particularly, a really efficient shooter as well at times.
Absolutely. I've been lucky to be on the same team as him for 2 years, and there's some games you come into and he hits his first couple of 15-footers and you can kind of chalk that down as a W, especially at the club level that we've been playing at.
Big pass inside from Gorbelak, finds a big man, another potential and one.
No, 3-second call.
Seconds. Slightly confusing signals from the German referee there. It looked like he'd initially counted the basket and then wipes it off for 3 seconds.
A bit of pressure by Turkey here. GB break it easily. Harry Brown with the ball on the right wing. Kicks it into Lee Manning.
Push from behind from Cem. Doesn't allow Manning to get the shot off, but there won't be shots here either. That will be baseline ball for GB.
He did well to get that foul in early enough.
Manning wanting the free throws there, believes that he was in his shooting action even though he hadn't released the ball. Substitutions about to come in here from Team GB as well, with Abdi Jama, Terry Bywater and Ian Sager getting ready to enter the game.
Harry Brown driving down the middle. Gets fouled and one.
Beautiful finish by Harry Brown there.
That's 2 fouls on Gorbelak, I believe. Puts his hand up.
That's something that could cause Turkey a lot of problems later in this game. He's a guy who really leads this team. He's the heart of this team. Even when he isn't scoring, he's the guy with the ball in his hands. And if he has to take some time on the bench, that'll be something that the GB could look to capitalise on.
Absolutely. They've lived and died by Gorbelak over the years, and if he's sitting on the sideline, they could be in a lot of trouble. But just as you said about Simon Brown earlier, he's been around for long enough, he's smart enough that he might stay out of trouble for a while here.
Bywater entering the game. We haven't seen an awful lot of him over the last couple of years, but he's been a real mainstay of the GB team for the best part of 20 years now.
Harry Brown knocks the free throw down there. it's good to see that go through as well.
Bywater, a guy who can really score a lot of points very, very quickly and has had some really epic battles with Oscar Gobelak over the years. So we'll see how this pans out, as the two of them are matched up at the top of the key right now.
Yeah, I was at the GB France quarterfinal yesterday, and I think he had 8 points in about 2 minutes when he came on.
Another turnover from GB there, having forced a difficult shot for Turkey. Time out here from Turkey.
The offensive side's looking a bit better for GB now. Harry Brown getting going a little bit. He's hit a couple from the free throw line. He's got all the way to the basket. He's made his free throws. That could be important.
Very, very much so. And there's a lot of weapons on the floor right now for GB. When you've got Harry Brown knocking down points, he's on 5 already. Phil Pratt, who's always a danger, although he has only taken 1 shot so far this game, but the amount of times he finds his teammates in the right position means he's always a threat.
Absolutely.
But then with the likes of Terry Bywater and Abdi Jama, 2 of the most efficient scorers in the world game right now, GB have a lot of options. It'll be interesting to see how Turkey react to this change from GB. You haven't seen any substitutions from them just yet. Coach is obviously happy with what his players are doing right now.
Yeah, I suppose from his point of view, they're still up 7, so I suppose his thing is to just stick with it and sort of try and see out the GB run and see what happens. But
nothing too dramatic has happened yet. It's gone from 10 to 7, but that's absolutely not a problem for the Turkish side. They can stay calm, stay unemotional as possible, and just weather that sort of minor GB storm.
Ishmael Ard is about to inbound from the left wing. Seems to be a bit of a problem with Chem's chair swapping a wheel over. Should be back underway in a minute. Plenty of time for both teams to talk over what they're going to do in this next couple of minutes. And off we go. Ishmael Ard inbounds to Chem, and we're back underway.
Harry Brown with an early jump to Gobelak, in Sega zoning off there to stop any roll. Ishmael Ard again from the middle there. He's really shooting very, very well so far today. As you said earlier, James, he's a guy who early in his career didn't really have a reputation as a shooter. He was much more of a slasher and a guy who finished in transition. But he is shooting, I believe, 6 of 7 right now in the game.
Oh, Phil Pratt with a big fadeaway from the free throw line. That's a tough shot to hit.
That's nice to see Phil getting involved in the scoring here for GB as well. His assists and his rebounds and his floor game are huge for them. But really getting him scoring from outside as well as his cuts inside is going to be big if GB are going to spread the Turkish defense.
Absolutely. Oscar inside to top rack, misses the layup. Segar with the rebound.
That's 2 he's missed now. They're going to have to maybe do something about that side. The GB are going to allow him to keep rolling if he's going to keep missing these relatively comfortable shots.
Terry Bywater for 3, and he knocks it down.
Never any doubt that shot was going in right there.
Oh no.
You can see the emotional reaction from the GB bench there. They knew exactly what was coming before he took it.
Oh yeah. We've all seen that far too many times to doubt it, haven't we? I wish I had some Dylan Cummings in me to get a bit more excited about that, but great shot.
Oh, nice dump down then by Gobelak. Looked for things like he was going to shoot the ball, but finds Toprak, who knocks this layup down.
Great timing on the cut as well. That was as important as the pass. Terry squares up to look at another 3, dribbles off the pick from Segar. Sends it over to the other wing with Abdi Jama. Pass was a bit low for the 1-pointer to take in.
Oh, turnover by Jama there under a lot of pressure there. One of his teammates really needed to help him out. And that's another missed layup by Toprak. That's 3 already this game, and that could really hurt Turkey by the end. You can't afford to give up these easy points against GB. That would have them out to 40 points already and a 12-point lead if he had knocked down these comfortable shots.
He's still probably shooting around 80% considering those layups missed though, which is absolutely incredible.
It's almost the only shots that Turkey have missed have been those layups, it seems. I think there's only one other shot that's not dropped from them.
Absolutely incredible shooting. As I say, there's only so much you can do to scheme for that.
Exactly.
You can do all the moving about and changing your tactics in the world, but if they're going to shoot 80%.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to stop. Bywater tilting under a lot of pressure.
He draws the foul from Ismail. I think that's his second, as I was reliably informed from the GB bench all the way across the room.
The big voice of little man Greg Warburton again there. Grobelak just petting Harry Brown there before the ball gets inbounded. It's good to see the game being played in a good nature despite its importance. Nice shot by Insega from the elbow.
Number 15, Aya Saga.
That has it back to a 4-point game nearly halfway through the second quarter.
GB just starting to dig into this Turkey lead here, slowly chipping away at it. R again in the middle. Knocks another shot down. This is great shooting by R.
And a lot of the time you're taught to help off the low pointers when there's a pick and roll and someone's cutting to the basket, but not when he's knocking them down like that.
Late jump from Turkey on Abdi Jama. Misses a shot though, but Sega picks up the rebound and finishes it under a lot of pressure from Cem.
That was a great finish. Strong rebound, great chair position, puts it back up, couldn't touch him. It's great to see.
There's another guy who's always fired up, always playing with a smile on his face as well. I think he's really loving being back in this new look GB team compared to last time he was there. Grobelak again behind the three-point line.
And takes a dribble off it. Under pressure from Phil Pratt.
Not rushing at all here. Looks at another three. Knocks that down as well.
Wow.
Grobelak out to 13 points in 15 minutes here. Not missed a shot yet this game.
Wow. Terry for three.
Terry replies. We've seen this battle several times over the last few years between those two. Two of the great shooters of over the last 10 years or so.
I think this one's going to be a lot of fun, Joe.
If it stays this close and these two are heating up like that, absolutely. Yeah, nice and slow, under control from Turkey. A lot of pressure from GB, way outside the three-point line. Oh, very off-balance shot there.
Good rebound by Terry Bywater, and he gets fouled by Top Rack.
These fouls potentially starting to add up a little bit.
Especially considering they haven't made a change yet. That could be important. Or have they? No.
Still no changes from Turkey, no. And they could certainly add up. It's still a long time to go in this game. 2 fouls is okay at this stage. If someone starts picking up a third, then the coach is going to have to look at changing his lineups.
Harry Brown kicks it out to Insegar on the right baseline, who just goes short. Turkey rebound. They have a 3-on-3 in the front court now.
Harry Brown backpicked. Turkey have numbers here. Taking their time though in the transition.
Grobelak gets round the pick on the left block. Skips it into Cem.
Them taking his time. No one can reach him though with Lee Manning out of the game. 3 attempts, misses them all.
And it's GB ball.
Big man is not happy about that decision, but I think from up here it looked like it was the right one. He just needs to make sure he finishes that, no matter how much pressure he's under. He seemed like he was rushing the shot a little bit rather than just getting 2 strong hands on the ball, taking a breath and knocking it down.
Oh yeah, and you know better than I do as a forward. I'm sure after you miss one and you get the exact same shot again and you miss it and you get the exact same shot again, that has to play on your mind a bit.
Absolutely, it really does, and it was understandable that he rushed the first shot a little bit as there was a potential 3 seconds where by the time he'd got hold of the ball, but as Ian Sager shows there, you just have to take your time. It's unlikely once the ball's up in the air that the referee is going to call 3 seconds. You just need to go forward, take your time, focus and knock the shot down calmly.
Absolutely, Sagar did well to get into position there and a great pass by Pratt. A lot of pressure on Grobelak here, Harry Brown all over him.
Only a 2-point game now for Turkey.
Cem on the left block, looks at the bank shot. Misses it short.
maybe still thinking about those earlier missed layups.
Terry Bywater looks at another three.
Just short, but Sega picks up the rebound.
Great
he can't
positioning.
knock it down. Transition here for Turkey. 3-on-2 temporarily. Goblak looks at the three, pulls it out.
He just draws so many eyes when he looks at that three, doesn't he?
Exactly, you can see Harry Brown and Abdi Jammer are just straight out on his foot plate as soon as he threatens it.
Looks at another one, puts it up.
Big three, but misses everything. Long
Harry
pass by Bywater, picked off by Chem.
Ooh. Let's see what the ref calls here.
I think that just needs to be a no call, I'm not sure. Not sure why he's called that on Harry Brown there.
Oh, I definitely disagree with that. I'd say if there's a whistle at all, it's got to be the other way, but
I'm not sure.
Harry didn't know anything about that. Harry was sat perfectly still.
There's just two players looking straight up in the air trying to catch the ball, and there's an incidental contact. I mean, there's not a lot anyone can do about that.
Yeah, when the ball's still in the air, I think as soon as Harry catches that, the call goes the other way.
Absolutely.
But still not sure about that one, but I was talking to someone else about refereeing the other day, and I couldn't do it, so.
Absolutely not.
It's not for me.
No, it's a near impossible job to make everyone happy, but I think that would have been a nice safe bet just to have left as a no call. First changes here from Turkey sees Goblak and Chem out of the game.
No, Chem's still in.
Is Chem, my mistake, sorry, Chem's still in, just Goblak is out. Nice roll by Toprak there. A little bit more freedom to have the ball in his hands now that Goblak is out the game.
And we see Afiturk come into the game for the first time, defending Terry Bywater.
Bywater with the cut, little off balance, but fading away. That's exactly the shot that he wants.
Oh, that's a big shot by Terry Bywater under a lot of pressure. Dribbles towards the baseline, spins out, fades away.
He's one of the best in the world at just creating that space for himself. They're using the contact to generate a fadeaway, staying relaxed and knocking the shot down.
Well, Ishmael puts it up from 17 and it's money again.
The first few that it hit were from a little closer in, but that is extending his range here each time, and
that
he's
was
still knocking them down.
That was very deep to be shooting that stationary as well. Terry Bywater takes the dribbles, skips it over to Segar on the left elbow, puts it away.
Nice shot by Sega. Started his GB career as much more of a pick and roll player, playing sort of a power side with former GB player John Hall, having both played club basketball together for a number of years, but has now really extended his range through his games with Cantu in Italy.
And that's another 2 points by Chem under the basket.
Again, GB just need to keep him away from the paint there. Easier said than done though.
Oh, double jump by Turkey into Segar.
Their lack of communication there from the Turkish side, and you can see they're frustrated there. Didn't want to double jump him, and that has...
And we're into half-time. Turkey 45, GB 43.
That was a good quarter there by GB, cutting into that Turkey lead. Those shots from R have been absolutely key, but they'll be very frustrated that they gave up a little bit of momentum in the end there by double jumping Abdi Jammer and giving Ian Sager an uncontested layup.
Oh yeah, the sort of team morale boost that you get by scoring just coming into the half. You get to knock 2 points down and go that way to a bit more of a better atmosphere in the timeout, more high fives, more booming. That's a big thing, especially for a team that as you've said, like Turkey, who can be very emotional at times.
Exactly. Strangely, they haven't been playing on those emotions this game quite as much as they have in past tournaments, but they've stayed very under control and they've played very, very well in that sort of controlled style this time. But that momentum boost that GB will get, that positive feeling going into the changing room, taking a little bit of time just to settle down and coming out with the momentum all in their direction second half, I'm sure.
Absolutely, it'll be interesting to see after 15 minutes of a break, can GB stay in a run or does that stop them a bit? But I think with a good warm-up and good positive team talk, they'll stay going in the right direction.
Absolutely. Right, we're going to take a short break now and we will see you guys in the second half.
some statistics. After first half, the best scorer from national team of Turkey is number 5, the captain of the team. Also, Gugula 60 points, and ECMA has 77, 30 points. From the national team of Great Britain, the best scorer in the world. Great world number. Number 12, he scored 10 points, and number 13, Ayat Sagar, 10 points.
Welcome back. The second half of the European semi-final here between GB and Turkey. Turkey leading by 2 points at the moment, and just a quick run through the scorers in that first half. For Turkey, Göbelek has 13 points, Cem has 10, Ismail has 16 on 8 of 9 shooting.
Wow.
Toprak has 6, and they're the only scorers so far from a Turkey team that have not rotated much other than the last 1 minute 45.
And on the other side of the ball, we have Simon Brown with 2, Lee Manning with 6, Harrison Brown with 5, Phil Pratt with 2, Greg Warburton with 10, and Terry Bywater has 8, Ian Segar has 10. So Greg and Ian Segar. Greg Warburton and Ian Segar are GB's 2 top scorers. Some nice balanced scoring there.
Yeah, that's just what I wanted to say. They're very, very nice balanced scoring. And GB coming out with the same 5 that finished the half there, the team that had sort of gathered the momentum against Turkey and cut this lead back down to just 2.
Double pick at the top for Terry Bywater. Gets the ball back from Abdi Jama. Sends it to the other side for Greg Warburton on the left wing. 2 points.
Greg continuing how he left off in the first half there, knocking another shot down from middle distance. Turkey are going to have to start jumping him at some point. They can't leave him this open all game.
Absolutely. Özgür Göbelek looks at a bank shot from the right wing, misses it. Ball bobbles back to Ismail.
Bit of a lack of communication there between Bywater and Pratt about who's going to pick up that rebound. Oh. Nice finish from Cem there. Ian Segar lucky that he didn't get called to foul, tilting to try and get a piece of the ball, but not quite making any contact with Cem's chair.
Absolutely, he did very well to avoid that. Phil Pratt takes the ball up for GB. Surveys the floor. Moves it to Abdi Jama. Gives it to Greg Warburton. Sends it to Terry Bywater on the right baseline, fading away. Puts it up, bobbles around and drops. Fantastic finish by Terry Bywater once again.
That soft touch from Terry Bywater is amazing. How many times shot will bobble around from him and just, you know it's going to drop in eventually.
I was going to say, if I take a shot from there and it hit that part of the ring, it goes over the backboard and out of bounds.
I know the feeling.
You've seen it plenty of times. Ismail takes the ball up for Turkey, hands it off to Özgür Göbelek. Defended by Phil Pratt. Pick comes from Ismail.
Early 3 from Göbelek isn't good, and Abdi Jama picks up the rebound. Long pass from Bywater to Phil Pratt, totally open. A little bit too long, but...
Spins under the basket. Nice controlled finish. No one anywhere near him.
Slowest fast break in the world there from GB.
You can take all the time in the world when you're that controlled.
It never seems like Phil's expending any effort when he plays, but covers so much ground so quickly.
A lot of pressure on Özgür Göbelek with the ball. Picks come from Ismail. Ball skipped to Toprak on the right wing. Shot goes up.
Nice finish there. Very, very open, and he knocks that one down with confidence.
So it's 49 all. Oh, I didn't say that. The microphone was in my way. What's happened there?
Big man Ian Segar hitting the ground. Looks like it was contact between him and Cem. No call though. Two teams just trading here at the moment. It'll be interesting to see who can sort of stamp their authority a little bit on this game.
Absolutely. People say all the time basketball's a game of runs. Terry
Very
Bywater.
big three from Bywater, just rattles out there though. That was from a long way out.
I can say that was an attempt to get a run going if ever I've seen one. Unlucky with the roll there. Gerbalak with the ball, nice and slow.
Chem wanting the mismatch, but Gerbalak just waving him off. Can hear Chem just shouting. He's got the mismatch, dumps it down to R. Another foul from Sega just as he's backing up on the roll there. A lot of contact on the edge of the key as Toprak and Warburton are fighting for position there. Toprak getting right to the edge of the key.
Be interested to see what Turkey run here on the end line if they've got a play. The ball goes into Ismail R, back to Gerbalak.
Gerbalak very open right now. A little short again though.
I suppose giving the ball to your best player is as good a play as any.
Absolutely. The guy who can knock shots down all day. Not that time though. Bywater with another fadeaway off the glass this time.
Big finish. Lovely pick by Greg Warburton in the open court to get Phil open on the left wing so we could skip it over to Terry, and great finish.
Exactly. Pratt's vision there is the absolute key. He just knows that Terry's going to want the ball fading away. Gives him exactly where he wants it. Better pressure from GB this time, forcing the screen from Turkey further away from the basket.
Greg working hard to get over those screens, but
Gerbalak finds Toprak outside again, knocks down another one from exactly the same spot. Teams still just trading. Tied game right now.
I think it's all on defense here. The teams are both shooting really well, both trading baskets. Whoever can get a stop first might see the lead stretch out a little bit. Ball into Segar, puts it up, gets fouled. Just short. 2 free throws to come.
Not sure what the referee was unhappy about there. The referee on the baseline was threatening a technical for something. Not sure what that was.
I didn't see that either. Our monitor was right in the way of it.
Chem coming out of the game now and F Turk coming back in.
Might have been a bit of a complaint about the call there, I'm not sure. Don't know what he had to complain about, but it's never stopped people before.
Nice
Segar makes the first.
Sega.
Segar makes the second.
Both teams pushing in early for the rebound there, but it means nothing when his guy knocks the shot down. Nice controlled transition again from Turkey here. Ball in Ismail R's hands. Finds Gerbalak again behind the pick and roll. R from the free throw line again. Misses this time, but Toprak picks up the rebound.
Gerbalak for 3.
Another offensive rebound. Nice hands just to get hold of it by R there. R behind the screen now. We haven't seen him there yet today. Knocks it down.
Greg Warburton bringing the ball up the middle of the floor, moves it to Terry Bywater on the right wing.
Rolling a little fast for taking a transition 3 there, but plays it behind the screen. A turnover from Bywater. Just as Sega's rolling in, he tries to kick the ball to the other side and turnover.
Gerbalak defended by Warburton. Pick comes, skips it over to Toprak. Puts it up from the left wing.
Doesn't make it this time.
Terry Bywater with the rebound, moves it to Phil Pratt. Picked up by Abdi Jama.
So smooth from Phil there.
Some great work in the open court by the GB there to get.
Terry Bywater looking for the call there, throwing his arms around, trying to get some contact, doesn't find it, airballs the shot and finds an open Ian Sager on the other side who knocks down the layup. 2-point lead to GB right now. Again, Gerbalak totally under control, running everything on the right-hand side of the floor here. Pick and roll game between him and Toprak. Finds R in the middle. Oh, dumps it inside this time to F Turk. Misses the layup.
He's off on the layup.
Oh, Sega falls again. This time there is contact.
And that'll be 2 free throws. for Turk. I thought he was in there a bit long, but I might be biased.
It was a little long perhaps, but again, once the guy's in that position, the referees really are loath to blow 3 seconds rather than just letting the play go on. So
yeah.
And see what the young Turkish player can do from the free throw line here after missing those 2 layups.
Turk's a junior European champion. I'm sure he's looking to add to his medal total. He's off on the first.
Interesting to see how long the Turkish coach leaves Atatürk in the game here. Obviously, it's important to give a break to the big guys like Cem. It's a lot of work for such a big man to be pushing through the contact of GB all the time.
He misses them both. Rebound nearly comes back to him, but he just loses control of it under great pressure.
Yeah, Ian Sager diving in there and a little bit of contact, but not enough to call a foul. Turkey not taking the chance to tie up the game here, and GB have a chance to open up a bit of a lead.
Yeah, 2-possession game could make all the difference. Skips it to Greg on the left wing.
Sealed by Abdi Jamo, but can't find Ian Sager in the middle. I'm not sure what the whistle was there. Something has fallen off Abdi Jama's chair, it looks like. Can't really see as Oscar Goblak is sat right in the way. "12 seconds on the shot clock here, GB ball.
Ball into Warburton on the left wing. Looks to move it to Terry Bywater.
Bywater behind the screen, early triple switch.
Has to take a tough shot. Nothing but net. Terry Bywater.
Fading away over Oscar Goblak. Let's see if Oscar tries to reply here. That's a 4-point lead now to GB. A little bit of momentum again in their favour.
2-pick set for Gobolak.
Good D from GB there, not allowing Gobolak to get any space at all. Oh, nice dump down by F-Turk. Nice finish there.
F-Turk did well to find the mismatch to draw the help from Segar, which left the 1-pointer open on the roll. Great job finding him and a great finish. Phil Pratt with the ball up the middle, moves it to Bywater.
Bywater totally open, knocks that down comfortably. No arc whatsoever, but straight in, nothing but net. It's a real show of the professionalism of Terry Bywater here. We've seen relatively little of him this tournament, but he's come out and knocked down 16 points already this game.
Yeah, he's the ultimate. He's one of the ultimate.
Offensive foul there, a little bit soft, but GB celebrate. That could be a real momentum turn here.
Absolutely, and you can see the whole bench going wild. I was just about to say Terry's the ultimate microwave. He heats up quickly. Doesn't need a minute when he comes on to get warm. He doesn't need anything like that. We saw it yesterday in the quarterfinal. He had 8 points in about 2 minutes. And he's done all right today too, hasn't he? How many does he have now?
16 points on 7 of 10 shooting so far from Bywater, including 2 of 4 from behind the 3-point line. Ball in his hands a lot here.
So Pratt skips it over to Terry on the left, and Terry Bywater on the left baseline.
Hear the call from the GB bench. Gaz Chowdhury there saying 2 more before Bywater's even taken the shot. He knows exactly what his teammate's going to do.
Great work by Simon Brown protecting his shooting hand, giving Terry Bywater all the time in the world to put that up.
Exactly, and great work by Phil Pratt. Most of GB's offenses have the ball in Pratt's hands, but he recognises that Bywater's starting to heat up here and he wants to milk it as much as possible, letting Terry Bywater run the floor right now.
Absolutely, it's important to move the defense as much as possible. Big and one by Phil Pratt. Great pass in from Terry Bywater. Lovely finish from Phil Pratt under the basket. Not quite squared up, did really well to control his body to put that up nice off the glass. Let's see if he can capitalise on the free throw to stretch this lead out to 7.
Timeout for Turkey right now. This GB lead out at 6. That's starting to look a little dangerous for Turkey.
Yeah, this is going to be a Turkish attempt to stop the GB momentum. Call a timeout to try and cool the guys down, to sort of quiet the crowd down, and let's see if it works. I'd say GB are riding high enough now that they'll still come out of this timeout absolutely buzzing, especially if Phil Pratt can put away this free throw.
Exactly. He's a really consistent shooter from the free throw line, so that should be no trouble for him whatsoever.
Absolutely.
The emotions just starting to come through a little bit for GB here. A bit of a quiet, bit of an edgy start, but Phil Pratt and Terry Bywater celebrating and high-fiving with that and one.
I think having been a part of it and watching it from the outside, I think we can both say that this team plays its best when they're having a lot of fun, and they're really, really starting to now, and it's good to see.
Absolutely, you can just see that a different generation there, Bywater and Pratt, but that camaraderie and that team spirit between them, celebrating the assist from Bywater, both happy to see the other scoring.
Pressure's not getting to anyone at all, I don't think, especially not Terry Bywater. He's been in more of these games than I've had hot dinners at this stage, so it doesn't get to him at all.
No, he's very, very experienced veteran, Terry. He knows exactly what to do in these situations.
Well, Pratt knocks down the free throw. That takes him up to how many points?
He's on 7 points personal. Not been a particularly high scoring game from Pratt compared to some of the others this tournament, but hasn't needed it to be. He's recognised that Bywater's heating up, and Phil Pratt is doing everything he can to make sure that Terry stays on this hot run.
Absolutely. I've seen plenty of games that Phil Pratt maybe hasn't scored 25 points, but he's really affected the game. Great finish by Turk on the layup there. GB come the other way. Harry Brown with the ball. Skips it to Terry Bywater, all on his own.
Oh, and he's got Gerblak just switching off there, sat in the middle of the key, not really sure where he should be, and leaves Terry completely open on the outside.
Great steal by Simon Brown. Brilliant hands. Gives it back to Terry Bywater.
Turkey's starting to look a little bit flat here, not getting the energy that they've had at other points in the game. Nice stop by Phil Pratt to find Terry Bywater. Another make from him. He's up to 20 points now in 16 minutes.
Lovely ball movement there from the steal from Simon to Phil Pratt. Over to Terry. 2 points. Easy as you like. Gerbalak with the ball here. Around the pick from Ismail R.
3 from Gerbalak. That could be a bit of a momentum swing here, but not too much celebrating, not too much noise from the Turkish team here, despite that big shot.
Well, very subdued. That might be a good sign for GB. Bywater comes around the screen, skips it to Harry Brown.
Oh, nice hands there, just takes the pass on the way. It was on the way to Greg Warburton behind the screen, but picked off by Efeturk. Gerbalak again, same position from behind the arc. Doesn't make this one. Nice tip by Warburton, though, back to Bywater.
So that could have been right back in the hands of Gerbalak, if not for Greg's tip there. That's just where you don't want the ball if you're GB. Terry Bywater pulls up just inside the free throw line, knocks it down again.
Feels like nobody else is taking any shots for GB right now than Bywater, but why should they when he's this open and he's shooting this well?
You're just right. I'm sure every time down the floor, GB's first thing is get the ball to Terry, make the defense move.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? If you've got a guy that hot, it's a real skill of a selfless team when they recognise who's the hot hand that day and just keep feeding him until that changes and somebody else takes over.
Absolutely. Put the ball in the hot hand. Let the defense react and then move the ball. Open looks.
Exactly. Change here from Turkey. Cem comes back in the game.
Harry Brown not even letting him fully on the floor before he starts defending him. And that's another offensive foul by number 11.
I'd be interested to see that back again. I'm not sure if the contact went into the back of Brown or if he was pulling backwards or a little bit of both. But as I mentioned in the game yesterday, double amputee players, their body weight is so high that it really affects them when they fall, and they tend to fall very dramatically.
Absolutely. And that's a technical foul given against Turkey. I don't know whether it was their coach or one of the players.
It was hard to see, but I think complaints to the referee about that call, and Bywater on the line. Knocks that one down, no surprise. I believe I'm right in saying that Terry Bywater has the highest percentage of free throws at the Paralympics in history. Like, he is an unbelievable free throw shooter.
Oh, absolutely. I've never seen that stat anywhere, but I wouldn't disagree with you. I'd say you're right.
It may have been Bywater that told me that, but it's from the evidence of shots like that, you can believe it.
Absolutely brilliant play by GB there. Dumping it down into Harry Brown, who finds Simon on the left block. Nothing but net. Brilliant team play there.
This is what we said earlier in the game. You've got guys like Simon Brown and Harry Brown, selfless team players who really do a lot of the dirty work for Team GB, getting it into the hands of the sort of more traditionally proficient scorers. When they're also knocking shots down, then that's hard to stop.
GB have really stretched out the lead here. They're up 73-62 after being down at half-time. Brilliant quarter from GB. What was the split there?
The live stats haven't quite updated here, but I believe that was 30 points to 17 for GB that quarter. That is a high-scoring quarter. And the majority of those points coming out the hands of Terry Bywater. Bywater is now on 25 points in 18 minutes, 11 of 14 shooting, 9 of 10 from 2 and 2 of 4 from 3.
Wow. Can't stop that, can you? We've both seen it plenty of times. Everyone who's watching this has probably been watching wheelchair basketball long enough that you know what Terry can do.
And a lot of people were surprised about how relatively few minutes really effective scorers like Bywater and Chowdhury and Jammer had in the World Championships last year on GB's way to a gold medal. That decision proved right as GB came out as world champions, but they're really showing the depth of their squad when a guy who can play very, very limited minutes one day can just come out and knock down everything the next. It's maybe what makes GB their most dangerous, that they just have so many potential weapons on the floor and on their bench.
Oh, absolutely. This squad goes 12 deep and has for a number of years, and you can really see it in games like this where Turkey have gone to 6 or 7, 6 I think. I think Turkey have gone 6 deep and GB are running through their bench. And they can bring someone like Terry Bywater on. You can get a bench guy to score over 20 points. That's a luxury that a lot of teams don't have, especially in Europe.
Exactly, and if you look at the bench from GB here, Gaz Chowdhury hasn't played a minute, one of the most effective scoring 4-pointers in Europe.
Absolutely.
Kyle Marsh, 0 minutes, but one of the most effective 2-point scorers in the game. George Bates, top scorer in the World Championship final last year for GB.
17 points in 17 minutes.
Exactly.
He'd want me to tell you all that.
I'm sure he would. These are guys who can just score points quickly, and they haven't even seen the floor yet for GB.
Ooh, turnover from Gerbalak. 3 pushes according to the ref. Oh, Gerbalak seems to disagree with that call.
Yeah, Gerbalak just having a little conversation with a few of the spectators here about that call. Turkey really looking flat at the moment. No fight from them at all at the moment.
This is the counterpoint to the team that runs on momentum when it's not going your way.
One shot long on the baseline from Warburton, the next one short. Ball back in the hands of Gerbalak in transition here.
Be interesting to see Gerbalak really try and take over this game to bring it back. Ooh. Foul called on Terry Bywater.
You can hear Greg Warburton calling for the 3-second call there. Chen was posted up, made a move just to create a contact with the back of Bywater and knock the shot down. 9 minutes is a lot of time, and it's only an 11-point lead right now. This free throw could cut it to 10, and a little bit of momentum for Turkey.
Absolutely. 3s and 1s create momentum like nothing else in the game of wheelchair basketball, but he's missed that free throw, and I think the ball was on the way out, but Top Rack tipped it off Terry Bywater's face, and I think he might have already been out of bounds. Or was that a case of tipping it off someone intentionally and the ref calling it the other way?
I think it may have been the intentionally tipped it into Bywater. If it's a genuine attempt to save the ball and pass it to a teammate, then that would have been Turkey ball. But as it was an intentional tip into an opposition player, then in wheelchair basketball, that stays as GB possession.
Harry Brown with the ball on the right wing, skips to Greg Warburton on the baseline. Fakes, because Terry Bywater. Lovely ball movement here.
Yeah, excellent movement. Bywater finding Pratt behind the 3-point line. Nice and smooth by Phil Pratt. Floats the ball over to Greg Warburton.
Sit up, 2 points.
Lots of height on that shot there.
Absolutely fantastic team basketball there.
Yeah, nobody rushing, nobody panicking. You can hear the bench counting down the shot clock, and Warburton, despite missing the previous two, total faith in his shot just to knock down that baseline jumper.
Ball into Chem.
Big man finished inside again. GB have a good lead right now, but they can't let Turkey have these easy layups every time.
You're just right, especially after GB had 24 seconds.
Bywater
for
transition three.
Really need Dylan Cummings here for when that goes in. Yeah, I don't want to do the Scottish accent, but just his name just sounds better with the rolled R's, doesn't it? No wonder he plays in Spain.
Absolutely. Terry Bywater just, maybe we're not the most emotional two commentators here, but he's a guy who is really just a joy to watch when he's in this kind of mode. Not fighting, not getting overexcited, not booming and shouting around, but just knocking down shot after shot.
Great pressure by Phil Pratt on Ishmael R.
8 seconds on the shot clock here.
Ball skipped over to Chem.
Chem with the mismatch. Doesn't make it ball tipped, but it's GB ball.
Ball to Harry Brown on the break. Layup is good, and that is 80-66. Really stretching it out a bit here.
There's good vision by Pratt there. He knew that Brown was up the floor already, and he just had to catch him without even really looking, fired the pass to him. Nice three by Oscar Gobelak though. Not even bothering to look for someone else, just taking it on himself really early in the possession.
Clean as you like. Let's see if Terry Bywater looks to reply.
Bywater dribbling through everybody, no one stopping him.
Wow. Absolutely fantastic 2 points by Terry Bywater there. Threatened the three. I think they were about as worried about the reply as I was. Jumped. Nice little move to roll into the lane. 2 points. Brilliant touch.
I love watching the scenes on the GB bench there. They know exactly what's coming from Terry and are celebrating before the ball's even gone through the ring.
Oh, great tip by Greg Warburton to get a piece of that. Foul by Oscar Gobelak.
That is a harsh call, I think, by the referee there. Gobelak and Warburton are fighting for the ball, and I can understand maybe he thinks Warburton has been deliberately impeded, and maybe Gobelak does take a little look at Warburton before he fouls him.
You see the call more and more these days where GB probably would have had an open layup after that foul, so as soon as you make contact with someone, it stops them getting an open layup. I see the ref's hands go up.
That was the one reason I was a little surprised there, because there was a Turkish player recovering as well, but just the fact that I think Ozgur deliberately tried to stop a fast break was maybe the reason that the referee called it.
Yeah, I believe so. Maybe the ref didn't think the other Turkish player was going to be able to stop Phil Pratt one-on-one, and I don't blame him.
Yep. First shot good there by Greg Warburton.
Second one good as well.
Bywater and Pratt sharing a joke on the sideline here. You can see that the team are super relaxed with the position they've found themselves in now. 84 points already by GB with just under 7 minutes left to go in the game. That is a lot of points for wheelchair basketball.
Terry Bywater for three, just off to the right. Phil Pratt with the rebound.
Oh, could have put it back himself there. Chooses not to though. Just recycles it, takes his time.
Greg Warburton round the pick. Referee says he's gone out of bounds there.
It'd be interesting to see this in the replay here. If Warburton really was out of bounds before he fired the pass.
Oh, looks like he got rid of it.
I'm not sure he was, but
the referees don't get the benefit of the replay, unfortunately. So it's a tough call at the time. A bit of pressure from GB here. The ball gets over the halfway line with Gobelak. Dribbles into the centre of the court, looking for a pick.
Despite this commanding lead, GB not taking anything for granted and are pressuring the Turkish shooters all the way out, way above the three-point line here, not giving them anything easy.
That's a very hard pick set by Ishmael R. Ball sent into Chem under the basket.
Oh, Chem did well to get the shot off early with pressure from the shot clock, but doesn't touch the ring, so the 24 is not reset, and there's a 24-second call. GB ball, and Chem is back-picked.
A good 23.5 seconds of defense there.
Yep.
A good 24 seconds of defense. The buzzer went. Terry Bywater comes off the pick to the right. Skips it to Greg Warburton.
Yeah, chooses not to shoot that one. Knows he can be found later. skipped back by Pratt, but a bit short.
Great save by Simon Brown, skips it to Terry, shoots short.
Simon Brown putting his body in the line a little bit there, tips the ball to Bywater and manages to plant his face on the back of Toprak.
Oh, that looked like a sore one. Simon will do that every day of the week. They'll put his body on the line, throw himself after a rebound, and that's one of the reasons he's so effective in this lineup and in this team. Just always willing to put his body on the line for a rebound or for a pass or to play some defense, and really made the difference there. Just unlucky that the shot didn't roll in. Gerbalak with the ball once again.
And lots of pressure from GB.
Ball skipped to Top Rack, who shoots a three from the left wing.
Bit long. Oh, Warburton has a fast break. Bywater looks for him. Passes a little short.
Oh, brilliant ball
Great
movement
ball
there.
movement by
Great
GB.
save by Greg Warburton into Simon Brown, who skips it over.
A tip to Brown, who had the awareness to find Harry Brown straight away for a very comfortable layup.
Lovely.
But
finish.
Chem's going to be inside here. They find him again. Harry Brown goes flying on contact from the Turkish low pointer. 2 points though for Turkey, but very, very flat. No real celebration there of that basket. GB still have a 15-point lead with 5 minutes to go in the game.
GB keen to get the ball in Terry Bywater's hands early. Skip the ball to Greg on the right baseline.
Oh, Terry wasn't expecting the ball back there, and the pass fired over his shoulder by Warburton.
It's a backcourt violation by GB. Turkey will get the ball level with the three-point line. I think Terry was down there telling Greg that he should be taking that shot on. Sort of belief they have in each other as teammates.
Exactly. It's great to see with this team, just the communication and the trust that they have in each other to knock shots down. Big
it.
three by Gerbalak, very short though.
That was deep.
A little bit of a desperation shot there perhaps by Gerbalak. He is able to knock those down, but not this time. Harry Brown just missing a very contested layup there. Nice drive though by Brown.
Did well to get there.
Nice pass by Gerbalak, finds the bigger man. Good finish by Chem. Simon Brown wanting the offensive foul for the contact from Chem as he pushes through the back of the smaller player.
GB taking their time inbounding here. Content to bring it up slowly and get the ball into Terry's hands.
I mean, time is very much in GB's favour right now. Lots and lots of time. Just taking the time, relaxed, moving the ball well. Oh. Bywater shooting through contact, looking for the foul, doesn't find it. That was a little bit disorganised by GB there, maybe a little too relaxed, but with this kind of lead, that's not very surprising. Great pressure here though. 4 players in a line just trapping Turkey miles away from the three-point line.
Fantastic defense here. Top Rack makes the cut towards the basket.
Oh, nice ball movement. Potential 3-second call there, but not called by the referees, and another 2 points for Turkey.
Timeout called here.
GB may be a little too relaxed now, but that's totally understandable with the position that they find themselves in. Turkey haven't been their usual emotional battling selves this game, but GB do need to be a little wary with 3.5 left in the game, that they don't leave them with any sort of chance of feeling like they can get back into this.
Absolutely, especially as a team who likes to take a lot of threes. That lead can be eaten up quite quickly here, so GB will still be on their toes, metaphorically, at least for the next couple of minutes.
Metaphorically is right. As you can maybe see the bit of tiredness coming in with the Turkish team as well here. They haven't rotated that much at all this game. Only 7 players, I believe, seeing the floor so far. The main guys playing every minute so far for Turkey, and that's perhaps starting to take its toll a little bit. And as we said early in the game, that pressure from GB doesn't necessarily reap rewards straight away, but as the game goes on, that tiredness creeps into the arms of an opposition under that sort of intense pressure.
You're just right, that's it completely. That's GB pressing early on in the game, betting that their level of fitness would carry them through and would grind on Turkey. and it looks like it has.
It's nice as a commentator to predict something early in the game and then not look like a fool when it goes wrong towards the end.
Yeah, and mention it and not bring the stuff we got wrong up.
Nice ball movement again by GB. Swung all the way over by Warburton there. Finds Bywater on the mismatch. Another fadeaway. Another 2 points for Bywater.
How many is that?
Bywater has stretched it out to 32 points now, I believe, with 14 of 20 shooting. That is not overly surprising from a man of his class, but very, very difficult to stop.
Yeah, he's not bad at this, is he?
He's definitely okay for an old guy.
Gerbalak with the ball.
Great pressure from Harry Brown, not giving the Turkish shooters an inch there.
Great pressure from Terry Bywater on that three-pointer. Did well to get a hand up there, and he could be free for a layup to stretch it out to...
90 points, 9 for GB. 90 points with 2.5 minutes to go in this game. Harry Brown could have taken the layup on himself there. He could have released his bag pick and gone, but wanted to see his teammate go through, and score, so held on to the back pick to create the space for Bywater.
And that's Terry Bywater on 34 points. That's a great tip by Harry Brown. They're unlucky not to save that. I think Harry Brown thinks he got held by one of the Turkish players chasing that ball to try and keep it in bounds, and I'd be inclined to agree, but I might be biased.
Yeah, it's a difficult call for the referees there. They have so many different things to look at with the ball and the contacts on arms or on chairs that small tips like that are difficult for them to call. Pressure even on the inbound, even at this stage in the game from GB, not making anything easy.
It's another offensive foul on Turkey.
Simon Brown celebrating that offensive call that he's kept asking the referees for. Terry Bywater celebrating as well. Again, contact from Cem on the edge of the key, fighting for position, and GB getting the offensive call this time. In their favour, I should say.
GB could have numbers here if they get moving. Nice pick by Greg to get 2 out and skips it to Simon Brown, who puts it back to Phil Pratt.
Oh, they missed Terry Bywater inside that time, but this is fine. He's setting the screen this time for... No.
Harry Brown for 3, just short, but the rebound comes right back to him. Over to Phil Pratt.
Lots of ball movement. GB taking lots of time off the clock here. Unnecessary tilt by Bywater, but he can definitely knock that down. Doesn't this time, though.
Gerbalak over the halfway line, already being defended. Terry Bywater with the foul.
Smart foul there by Bywater. Knows that Turkey potentially have numbers and doesn't want to allow them to get an easy shot. Foul trouble not an issue in this game for any of the GB players, so smart time to burn a foul.
That's his 3rd, but this late in the game, I'm sure that's not much of an issue for him.
This late in the game and with this much of a lead, it should be comfortable for Bywater.
Skips it over to number 47, who misses the layup, but Cem gets the rebound. He's short, gets his own rebound, puts it back in. No one was touching him there.
Yeah, it's a difficult one for GB there. They let the right guy shoot the ball. Unfortunately, they didn't box out on Cem. The big man's just not to be stopped. But Phil Pratt, well, again, barely looks like he's putting any effort into that transition, but so smooth, so powerful, and just gets a nice, easy layup.
As cool as you like, lovely bounce stop. Waits for the pressure to blow by, knocks it down. Harry Brown all over Gerbalak here. Looks like he's going to put this up from 3, and he does. Just off.
Gerbalak chooses to pressure the pass rather than get back on defense. 2-on-0 for GB. Another 2 points for Phil Pratt.
And the GB lads are having a great time on the bench now. I think they see the writings on the wall.
Yeah, 40 seconds left in the game, and this is now a 17-point lead for GB. I think they're just counting the time down until this game is over now. Nice finish though by Top Pratt. Another fast break from GB. Well, fast break is maybe the wrong word. They're barely moving, but Harry Brown can't knock that down. Little lack of concentration there.
Yeah. Don't think it'll matter too much now, but I'm sure he'll still be shaking his head at that one.
Exactly. He's a great professional. He'll be a bit frustrated that he didn't make that, but it has no bearing on the outcome of this game. With 2 more points, just adding to his total there, and GB. Not an inch of celebration from the Turkish bench for that.
GB to take the ball over the halfway line and just dribble out the clock. Fantastic offensive game from both sides, but unbelievable from GB to put 94 points up in 40 minutes.
Like that's almost an NBA type score there with 94 points. 81 points by Turkey is a fantastic offensive job, but when you can't stop GB's shooters, then they're going to be in a difficult position.
Absolutely. Brilliant shooting by both sides. Like we were sitting at the start of the game talking about Turkey shooting 85%. Now GB have put up 94 points on the back of Terry Bywater's 34.
34 points on 68% shooting from Bywater. 67% shooting from GB from the game there. 73% from twos and 33% from threes. And great shows team comradeship from the two teams here. Congratulating GB on making the final. Hugs between Bywater and Gerbilak and Pratt. Not too much emotion on the face of GB, but they know they're going home with a medal now.
Yeah, that's it. But I think at this stage of the tournament, there's not too much time to celebrate. They know they've got a job to do tomorrow.
Exactly. Their job now is to just get back to the hotel, get fed, get rested, maybe have a meeting and some video and prepare for their final tomorrow against either Spain or Germany.
Absolutely. It's all business. All business, and Turkey have a job to do as well. They have to pick themselves back up to play either Spain or Germany tomorrow in a bronze medal game. That's possibly as tough as picking yourself up after a tough game to go and win. The mental side of it, to pick yourself up after a loss to go and play a bronze medal game, something that no one wants to do, but it's a unique challenge.
Exactly. In some ways, that bronze medal game is emotionally more difficult than the final. Although in the final, you lose and you're disappointed, but it's something that you can look back on years later and you're still a silver medalist. Whereas that bronze medal game, you know that there's no other second chances now. That you have to just go out and win if you want to go home with a medal.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Quick look through the stats here just before we go. Ozgur Gerbilak for Turkey with 21 points, 50% shooting. Cem with
Kaczynski.
Gajin. You can try that.
Let me see. Where is he? I think it's Cem Kaczynski.
We'll go with that. 34 minutes, 22 points at 61% shooting, and Ismail Ah with a very, very efficient 20 points, 10 of 12 shooting from him. They were the main weapons for Turkey today. GB with, at the beginning of the game, a very even scoring spread, but Terry Bywater, 34 points, 15 from 22 shooting, 16 points from Greg Warburton, 7 of 11, 11 from Phil Pratt, 5 of 6, and Ian Sager, 15 minutes, 14 points, 6 of 8 shooting. Very, very efficient from the leading scorers from GB there. Lee Manning chipping in with 6 points, Simon Brown with 4, both of whom have gone 2 from 2, and Harry Brown with 9 points for the game. We're going to leave it there, so it's thank you from James and myself. We're going to be back in a few minutes with the Spain versus Germany semi-final.
Yep, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next game.